Hello, come on in. It's part 2 of my last live. Come on in. I had a call that interrupted my live, so come on in. Come on in. We're talking today student loans, Social Security, the economy. Can you afford to live is the question. Can you afford to live? Come on in. Like the video, like, share, subscribe. Come on in. Hey, what's up, Reason? Yes, I had a call that came in and jacked my live up. So hopefully you all can hear me. It happens. Come on in. The question is, can you afford to live? We back. Can you afford to live? That is the question on the table. Can you afford to live? Many of us are feeling like we're having to choose. Do we pay our rent, our mortgage? Do we pay our student loans? Do we buy groceries? It's unfortunate that the it's unfortunate that many of the things that we need to live, we have to kind of choose. Like, okay, well, I got to pay my rent, but I also need groceries, or my kids need food. We ain't got no food in the house, but rent is due. My car note due, but rent's also due. Which one do I put the money towards? Come on in, y'all. We talking. Hit the like button. How many of you are in situations these days where you're really every month you're having to pick and choose what's going to be the priority, what's getting paid on time, what can go a little longer without being paid? God, on you said you knew. Welcome. Like the video, like, share, subscribe. Welcome for those of you who are new. I'm well, thank you. How are you? How many of you know what it's like to have to choose and decide on what's most important? Food, rent, car notes, bills, college tuition. How many of you have fallen behind and you feel like you've been in a hole and you just can't get out? It's almost been nearly impossible to get out ever since you fell behind, because when you had to help your child out, your adult child, or they're in college and you had to pay a bill, you you had to pay something centered around what they got going on, because they're still young people trying to find their footing in the world, or they're in college and your name attached to it, and because you put your money to that, you don't have money for this your stuff, because you help somebody with their stuff. Or if you being a mama, a parent, a father, you put whatever that your child needed before what your needs was, and you like, oh well, I'll deal with it later because my child is in need. Life is definitely lifing. And so that's the situation for so many people. People are in situations to where they're having to pick and choose my child over me, my adult child and what they need over me. Hell, my minor child and what they need over me. Because you don't have, it's not enough to go around. It's you're so spread thin to where these days where one parent can stay at home full time with the children are like far in between for most households today. Both adults, there's multiple working adults in the house. Most households, there are multiple working adults. It's not just one, because one income is not going to cut it. There are many people who just solo dolo, they live by themselves and they're like, yo, Sheik, it's hard. I live by myself and it's hard. I'm an empty nester, or I've never even had kids and it's hard. I'm single and it's hard. Like, that is a story for so many people. I hear the stories. I am a two income household. I'm married, been married over 20 years, three kids, one in college. Like for me, I even say, hey, it's hard. And this has been my situation my entire adult life. So I know for someone who's single, it's hard. So I don't have to experience someone's situation to be able to understand what they may be going through. Like I can use common sense and discernment to see like, yeah, that's hard. Like I can see. I was raised most of the time of my most of my childhood was raised with a single parent, at least half of it, a good portion of it. So I know what it is when it's just one person, one income holding it down for multiple people. I know what that life's like. I know what it's like to be a teenager, a working teenager, to have to help out, help pay bills, to have to be responsible for clothing yourself, buying your own personal items because the finances weren't there for mama or the single to be able to do it all on her own with four kids. Like, child, I know the struggle. Oh, I know. But I also know how it can still even be a struggle, even when you're doing it with someone. It's hard. So, not that long ago, in March, I talked about it on this channel. There was a a man by the name of his title is the U.S. Secretary of Commerce. His name is Howard Lutnick. Howard Lutnick is like a billionaire, and he's on the Trump administration. And he went on record to say that his 94-year-old mother-in-law, she received Social Security, and he was like, if she were to go a month without receiving her check, she would not be upset, be angry, be afraid, have no emotion. She would just be like, oh, it'll come next month. And it just brush it like on her Jay-Z, brush it off her shoulder type thing. So the vast majority of the world clutch their invisible pearls is like, wait a minute, what do you mean? What do you mean? First of all, you're saying this is your mother-in-law, billionaire, so mama is good. She's Gucci. So for you to even compare how she would feel about not receiving a check to your regular average working class person is asinine. The reporter even went onto the streets to talk to other people who are older people, seniors, people who look like they were probably 50s, 60s, and asked them their thoughts about him making such a comment. And they were like, heck yeah, I would lose sleep if I did not get my check, or if I even came to learn that I may not get my check like many people are feeling today, because I need that. First of all, most people, that check ain't even covering it. It's not even enough. So they're already in a hole every month, just even with that little check. Because the average person, Social Security is like under 2,000. So let's just start there. It the idea of not getting a check is just not even an option, because folks need that then some. So how about I just learned that that man's mother-in-law lives with him? Because at the time when I did the commentary, I said she probably lived with him. She 90 some years. I was like, that woman probably live in the house with him. So no, she don't have to worry about getting a check every month, because her kids are grown. Her daughter and son-in-law are taking care of her. She's 94. So today I learned that is very much the situation. That woman is living with her children in a penthouse. She ain't spending that check. That check is just getting deposited into an account. What bills she got? She in the house with her kids. She ain't got no bills. She don't even know if the check coming or not. How many of you are in a situation to where you don't know when your check is hitting? Most of us, some of us already know, oh, my check hit a day before. That's how much you own your stuff, to where you know that your employer run your stuff at midnight or at 11:30 the night before. So you're like, oh yeah, I know when I got my check, what time I got my check, if it came late, if it came on time, if it came early, because you're watching it, right? Because you're dependent upon that check, because you have promised some people that that you're gonna take care of some things once you get that check, right? So you need to know when that check hit, so you can start swiping that card or writing out these checks, or even making promises to people that you got them, that you're going to pay them. So this woman, I bet you she don't even know nothing about her deposits like that, because she ain't using it. She not even spending money. She's 90, in her 90s. What is she doing? She at the house being served and being waited on. So it's the part about how some people are so out of touch with what's going on, to where the way they're moving, or the ignorance that they're speaking, it doesn't line up with the reality of the situation for the vast majority of people, the American people. It don't line up. And it's just like, sir, how do you make such a comment when you got so many people who rely on that check, so many people who talk about how that check is not even enough? And oh, let me add, he also said that if someone does complain about not receiving that check for that month or on time, that just means that they were just probably likely a fraudster anyway. Because a person who really legit receive that check would not have any sweat off their back if the check doesn't come 1 month. I don't know how you get a player. I never even received nobody's social security check. I'm 44 years old. Hell, I don't even know if it's gonna be around by the time I been told that almost all my adult life, that it's at least since my mid 20s, that it might not even be around. But anyway, how you gonna make a comment of, if somebody complains about not getting money that's due to them, monies that they paid in, monies that's their money, because you're paying into these systems. So therefore, later in life, when you need it, when you're unable to work, you're able to collect a check or some type of income. So somebody who's looking for that income, that money to be deposited into their account, they have every right to show concern when that money doesn't show up as promised. You took my money out my check as promised. You took them taxes from my check as promised. You sent them folks after me when taxes wasn't getting paid or fell behind as promised. So I'm gonna need for you to pay me as promised. Y'all see, this goes both ways. It goes both ways. Ain't look at me all side or cross-eyed because I'm saying, yo, you need to run me what's due to me. But though now single coming up and you like, oh, you need to pay me back this yesterday or I'm gonna garnish your check. Like, it can make sense. You're I shouldn't have a problem paying up for my past due, my student loans, because I signed these contracts. But you got a problem with me saying my check was late getting deposit? Okay, so it's one way. It's not a problem when I needed you looking for me to pay you, but it's a whole problem when I'm expecting for you to pay me, rightfully so. These times we living in, y'all double tap, y'all double tap the screen, like this video. We had to start a new live because I had a technical issue on my last live. But this is where we are. This is where we are. When we as the American people have a complaint, it's a problem, and you looked at sideways like you on some other type of stuff. You doing some illegal activity. But when they're looking for money to come from us, then you need to shut up and put up. And that's the expectation come March 5th, 2025, Cinco de Mayo. You will be expected to start paying back on those defaulted student loans, or else your checks will be garnished, meaning that they will take the money out of your check before you receive that deposit. So some of you all, you may not get the memo for whatever reason before the garnishment takes place, and you look up, just like some of y'all might have experienced it with child support or some other debt collector, where you look up and your deposit is less than what it normally is. And you like, yo, what happened? And you're reaching out to your employer, and they're saying, well, we have a record that you have a garnishment. So by law, we had to adhere to that. This is what they're doing. It's out of our control. You got to lawyer up. You have to lawyer up. So this is a situation right now for many people. Some people are in situations where they're having to, they're dealing with garnishments for other things. And some of those people will also deal with garnishments centered around the default on student loans. So they're like, they just gonna be outside homeless because they cannot afford to have any more money taken from their check. This is a situation right now. Good morning. Good morning. The billionaires got a lot to say, and of course, it's easy. It's always easier to talk your talk against somebody else when you're not in that situation. That's why I try to wear multiple hats and put myself in different situations, um, to try to understand what people are going through so I can kind of speak on. Didi said, to many people worrying about the stock market and don't have any skin in the game, stock market only hurts people that have extra money. Yep. So if you got the extra money enough to, say, if you work for a company and you're able to pay into you're fortunate enough to pay into like a 401k, it hurts, and that impacts you because that money is being used, and the money's going into like different markets and things like that. So yes, everybody don't have the ability to do those things, but there's quite a few people to where even though they really feel like they can't afford to have these extra monies going out of their check into, say, a 401k, they know that there's going to come a time where they're not going to be able to afford to work and they're going to need money. So they're forcing themselves to have to do without for the sake of saving a few dollars into a 401k account, or Roth account, whatever, IRA, all these accounts. A lot of people are just forcing themselves to come up with these monies to put into these accounts because they're fearful that if they do not, they're not going to have anything. Time comes and they're physically unable to work. And many people have family like Howard Lutnick to stay with, to help and to pay bills, to put food on the table. Like there's a lot of seniors that have adult children who can afford to absorb the costs associated with taking care of them. There are a lot of people who have physical disabilities, conditions, things like that, where money is needed to get resources, maybe in-home nurse, all of that. Because here's the thing with when it comes to social security, that means you are a working person pay into something. If you did not work, pay into say this, like what are you going to do? Like street life don't have a retirement plan. You was doing that thing, hustling, hair on the side, part time, the gig work, the Uber, the Lyft, DoorDash. These are kind of like 1099 jobs. These are jobs. So that means that you are responsible for setting aside monies to go towards your medical, your child's child care, retirement account. There isn't an employer there to help with offsetting some of these things. You're taking care of all those things on your own, and that is the case with a lot of American people today. Twitwit says Social Security was never intended to be enough. It was referred to as a safety net because it was only there to help to assist in your elderly years. So, as I talk about 401k, someone's 401k with Social Security, those together may have you to be able to live because, as Twitwit said, you need both. And as I'm saying, is that inflation is rising. So the 401k account that's supposed to help with the Social Security, a lot of people aren't able to pay into that or pay much because the cost of living in the present time is so much, they just don't have it. So